there is this general belief, I mean, people moralize it that if we can't create life, we have no right to kill. That's on the one hand. If you can't create, then you have no right to kill. So that's on the no. But on the yes side is that when I look at about 14 countries that still do have the death penalties in their status books, when you look at the corruption level, is very minimal over there. And I have a list of them. You have China, you have Japan, you have Iran, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, now Korea, you have Argentina, Botswana in Africa, that's the only one in Africa. Then you have Brazil, Canada, Chile, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, and then the USA. Now, when you look at all these countries I've mentioned here, but by the way, UK abolished there in 1965, actually. For about 60 years, they've not carried out any death. So when you look at all these countries I've mentioned, I mean, you look at the level of corruption there is very, very, very low. Because of the fear in China, for instance, Saudi Arabia, because of the fear of if you did anything wrong, your head was gone. Your head was gone. So can there be maybe a middle of the road? Will we borrow from this and borrow from this?
No, I think you said that it depends on the amount you
Yes, it says so. Yes, you so exactly.
Depends on the kind of.
Can there be a hybrid of something? Maybe not death penalty, but punitive measures that are heavy, not to serve as a deterrent. Maybe that, because as I said, the world is moving away from
capital punishment.
But again, if you move away from it, has it helped you in the fight against corruption? Look at Africa. We don't have death penalty apart from Botswana. That's in Africa. So, but look at the level of corruption. So, which is why I say yes and no. So, my yes is that yes, it might help us to reduce to the barest minimum the rate of corruption. But
all right, Asuka, I'll come to you here. Do you agree with Peter Obi? Because if you remember, former President Buhari said something that if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. First of all, let me ask you, do you agree with the former presidential candidate?
Just like Charles said, yes and no.
You also want to sit on the fence?
The thing is, I will say no.
No. Okay.
Because death penalty, just like he said, when you don't have the power to produce life, you cannot take life. That is it.
Okay.
There are things and ways at which you can help reduce corruption. If we strengthen our judiciary, because so many people do not believe that, he's also one of them who don't believe that our judiciary can, have that strength to deliver. But if we strengthen our judiciary, if we strengthen our judiciary, corruption will reduce.
But you know that when...
Now, this is how I want to, because in every democratic setting, you have the lawmakers. If the lawmakers, are there and they are giving us laws, stringent laws, he has said something about 10 years or life imprisonment. Okay. I think I prefer that than taking life.
But another thing, gentlemen,
if you say life imprisonment, and that life imprisonment, you still add some other conditions to it and say somebody has been caught for
heavy penalties.
Somebody has been caught stealing. The judiciary should make sure that they finish this case in 1 month.
Okay.
And if you are found, you go for life imprisonment.
And all the proceeds of crime
everything that is around you, including your family members, should be confiscated. That is what they do in China. You understand? Everything around you. Something that is, so that once you see anything corruption, you will run away. It might not be you leaving the world, but at least something that by the time you are in prison, even when you are in prison, they can even add that hard labor.
But they say hard labor.
You understand?
But another thing, gentlemen, is when public servants embezzle money meant for health care, meant for education, you're not just stealing the money, but you're stealing lives. You're stealing opportunities. You're stealing future. But another thing I want to ask you, gentlemen, is there a one-size-fits-all approach in dealing with corruption?
It's difficult
in Nigeria.
For now, the cure-all, the cure-all would have been the death penalty, has been suggested by but which of course I said as a yes, no. But again, apart from adding to, let me build upon what he said. The judiciary is one of the aspects. It's an integral part of the whole level of fighting. But I think that there is a loose corporate governance Now, if you tighten corporate governance and make stealing difficult, so it is cheaper for preventive than curative, as they say.
Okay.
It's cheaper for you to prevent than trying to look for cure. Because somebody will be caught, you now have to be paying police to do those. Because you are somebody stole money, you are still spending money to get the person, whatever. But if you prevent, for instance, I'm not going to mention brand, but say federal government agency. I drove there with a friend of myself, wanted to set up a company. Someone don't recognize me. Charles, what are you doing here? You should have a laptop. Go home and do that. You register a company by yourself. I said, but I'm not a notary public. He said, it doesn't matter. Do you know that truly, I have to register a company for my sister-in-law, a limited liability company I registered, and the certificate was sent to me. Now, there was no human interface. I didn't have to say, somebody would say, carry file from one place to the other, which of course used to be. So that's where a proper corporate governance has been put in place to reduce, if you can't eliminate, but reduce the human interface. If there is this human interface, somebody will be asking you, happy weekend. Now, happy weekend,
it means something. it means a lot.
So if you eliminate the incidence of human interface, make everything, you just make everything to be
digital and all.
Internet, just as I mentioned example. You pay online, you do all this one, they say.
All right, gentlemen.
I think
the Holy Book says that when the Lord marks iniquity,
nobody will stand.
Who shall stand? Okay, good. The fight against corruption, where should the fight start from? Is it from the top, the leaders, or from the bottom, if you're to recommend?
Well, I think it should start from the bottom.
Okay, bottom-top approach?
Yes.
Why?
Because we are the bottom, are the ones that make those at the top. We are the people that elect those at the top. If we are not, for instance,
don't you think if it starts from the top,
it
will inspire?
I disagree with you.
Because listen, everybody keeps saying the leaders are always corrupt. They're always corrupt.
But
do you know that we too, we are the ones that also make them corrupt? Let me tell you. Take for instance, ask most of the lawmakers, most politicians. They will tell you that anytime they come to the house, when they say, okay, XYZ, we want to build a school for you, or I'm going to build a school for you, I'm going to do this. Our people, most of the people will say, no, I do not want to give us the money. So how do you hold on? Okay, how do you now want the politician to give you the hospital? How do you now want the politician to give you the school? If not because we are asking for money. Some people say, oh, we are the ones that weaponize, the politicians that weaponize poverty. But if the politician is saying, I want to build a school, I want to build a hospital for you.
And you're saying, no, give
me money. Then who do you blame? And then if the politician is saying, okay, I've not gotten, maybe I'll look XYZ. And then don't forget, some people feel that once someone is a lawmaker, somebody who is going to make law, that person it means that he has gone to Abuja to go and pack money.
Exactly.
We have forgotten that he's making laws for us. And that is, the only thing I feel is just, we need to start changing our mindset. We should not see our politicians, yes, I know that now, it will take a long time for politicians to change their attitude, the way, the values, everything. But we, below, we must start thinking like, like we are not, because I know Charles will say we disagree, but my own, I feel that we must start from ourselves.
We must start from ourselves.
No, we can. We can, because if a politician is taking, if it's taking forever for him to change, is it people that look up to them that will change? The man, he said, the community talked about want to give a hospital. They said no. They know that politician is a thief. They know that. Who took them there? They know that this person don't mind him. This project is talking about now. You may say it's about 5 million. Only God knows how much it's going to take. Let's give us our own thing. Wait, I'm telling you. I have 2 examples to give about how to fight it from the top to bottom.
Talk to me.
2 examples. Number 1, I have an example in the late Murtala Mohammed. Some of us were taught as that. I was very small. When Murtala Mohammed came to power through a Porsche or something.
Yeah, in 75.
He purged himself first. He purged himself first and began to. So you couldn't pin anything on him. So when you are working with someone, you know the person, you can't find anything on you yourself. By default, you repair your impropriety. Number one. Number two, I have two examples. Okay. The second example is, although that one was became I don't know. Somebody said body language became body odor. Something.
I'm
PMB. When PMB was sworn in, was inaugurated in 2015. For about 6 months, everybody was afraid because they said, remember this body language? Everybody's afraid because we don't know what this man. So you see that everybody was looking up to him. I said, this man is incorruptible. Okay. So if I did anything wrong, I could be hanged for it. It was later when they tried, everybody else, this is business as usual. So if you want corruption, fight against corruption to be more effective, it has to be
from the top.
Those who are there should better purge themselves, clean up the image to say that they are not stealing. Then those who are saying, if they are not saying, we can also steal. But if they know they steal, the people don't steal.
All right, gentlemen,
I still feel
that it has to start from the bottom.
Because before you see a politician, it starts from the society.
That is why you have two. That is why it seems to you that you have two sets of laws.
You know,
one, if somebody steals a tuber of yam, for instance, he goes to jail, but somebody steals about 100 billion. Then you are talking about a plea bargaining. Come on.
All right. Now, some would say that whether it starts from the top or the bottom, let it just start.
It should start from
now. Another thing is, I've heard arguments that instead of hounding corrupt persons, let us strengthen our institutions. That when we strengthen our institutions, corruption would die.
Yeah, which is what I talked about
Do you agree with that?
No, of course, we need to strengthen our institutions because if what we usually have now is that people just tend to look at other people for them to be able to decide. Don't look at if the EFCC is strengthened and the EFCC wants to do its work, it shouldn't be saying, I want to call one person before I take decision.
I'm not looking at the individual.
Same with judiciary. That's why I say
the judiciary. Yes, exactly.
You understand? Strengthen the judiciary. Once you strengthen the judiciary, anybody that steals, whether the person is anybody, whether governor, president, anything,
no matter how highly placed.
Yes.
Can I also disagree with him?
You want to disagree with that
too? When the institution is strengthened, everybody will know that it is the institution that will deal with the person.
Exactly.
It's the institution. And from years to years, from generation to generation, is that same institution that will deal with that.
But there are people, people are in those institutions.
Yeah, apart from
all right, talk to me.
Why I said disagree with me is that it's a good thing to strengthen
institutions.
But how can you strengthen an institution where in that institution the head of the institution is appointed by the president, for instance, or the government? No, that's how I'm going. See, for instance, let's look at INEC. If you take the power to appoint the chairman of INEC, whatever name, from the president, let him be voted. I don't know whatever nomenclature they can do, to whatever modus operandi to take. You see that he will rather be accountable to the people rather than be accountable. I about the Inspector General Police too. Okay, there's supposed to be a people's police, but the president will be the one who will also appoint him. So if you want to strengthen an institution, they say who pays the pipe, who pays power.
So what I'm saying,
strengthening the institution, you must also take the power from a single person to appoint.
Yes, good.
To a college, maybe a college.
Now what I'm talking about is if there is an institution, and you want that institution to be effective.
Well, I'm only giving you a way to strengthen the thing.
Yes, now so if you want that institution to be strengthened, we must also find ways of making it strong.
Which is why I'm giving this factors.
Exactly. So if you feel that the president is going to interfere, remove the powers from the president. If you want it to be voted for, or you want the president to be, fine, we put it there in our laws. That anybody that wants to come will do a background check. We are going to vote for the person, or maybe the lawmakers will be the ones. You understand? But the thing is, that institution has to be protected. Because if the institution is protected and is strengthened, everybody will look up to that institution. They will be afraid of that institution, not being afraid of one person. Knowing that, or maybe I commit a crime, I know that, don't worry, I'll go and meet one man and he's going to, you know, set me free.
All right, gentlemen. All right, gentlemen. Beautiful conversation. Beautiful, brilliant conversation.
Last time I talk about this